After working with over 60 clients in the last 3 years at paidadvertising.com and spending over $10 million on ads, I think I've cracked the best way to craft an ad. And we've refined this process over and over again at our agency to really make sure that we nailed down our messaging with every single ad. So in today's video, I want to show you the only way to create winning Facebook ads, and for that matter, high converting ad creatives for every single ad platform. If you don't know who I am, my name is Justin and I run paidadvertising.com, an e-commerce marketing agency specializing in elevating thriving brands by simplifying e-commerce growth. So let's get straight into it. The only way to create winning Facebook ads. So step one, how do we actually achieve that? Well, it's gonna sound pretty simple, but for some of you watching this, you may not be used to taking that time to make that step before you work on a client account or on your own account. So the first thing that I do is that I map out two things, my persona and my product. So when it comes to the persona, you've probably heard that, and that is something taken from traditional marketing school of thinking. So if you've been through marketing school, well, you've probably seen something like this, right? Your avatar, your persona, your profile. Who are you trying to speak to within your ad? That's one of the first things that we're going to do here. So keep in mind, there are two things that might come out of this exercise. One, you need to target your ideal customer profile. That is one profile. And then you have your actual customer profile, which are not always the same thing. I've made or talked about in some of my videos on the differences between the two. Sometimes what will happen is you think that you're attracting or speaking to an ideal client persona, but in fact, you're actually only attracting your real type of client. So very similar example to Calvin Klein, which that's the exact example I had made in a video where I spoke about if you have a really hot model as an example for men, somebody with abs, they wear the Calvin Klein, you probably won't attract hot guys. You'll actually attract your average Joe that wants to look like a hot guy. So just make the difference when making that exercise. You can make more than one persona, by the way, and even give them names, but segregate them between your ideal customer profile and your current customer profile. So with that being said, what you want to map out about them is age, gender, statistics, affinities, interest, and more. All of that you can actually map back to this persona. You'll realize that through Google Analytics, through your ad stats, and your Shopify store. If you look at your brand, you'll be able to see who's currently buying from my store. So that's easier to start with your current customer profile. If you want to map out your ideal customer profile, you can do that through market and competitive research. So looking at your competitors, who are they showing in their ads, how their organic strategy looks like, and you can kind of tell who they're trying to speak to from there. So you make a personal profile. Then what you're going to do is you're going to make a product profile. So from the product you're trying to sell in your ad, would it be a service or a physical product, an online product, doesn't matter. Map out what are the features of that product or service. What are the USPs, so unique selling propositions? What is unique about this product that the competition might not have? And the mechanisms. So again, it could be some of the ways that your product functions slightly differently than others. And I don't want to hear it regardless of your industry. If you're in fashion, if you're in, I'm thinking real estate, doesn't matter. You have a little something that is different than the competition. Take the time to list this out. Don't skip on this process. Don't only list 3, 4, 5 features. List at least a dozen features, USPs, and mechanisms. You want to have more than enough right here, okay? Now, once you've done that, you could have organized yourself in a documents on Google Docs or potentially a Google Sheet, doesn't matter. So you have now a persona profile and you have your product profile. So then you move on to step 2, which is mapping out the desires and pain points of your persona. So if we zoom into that persona, what do they say when they say, I want to, right? I want to look good in underwear. I want to feel great in my own skin. I actually want to have abs, right? Those are all desires that your audience is going to have. And I'm making a hypothetical scenario here out of Calvin Klein. So ask yourself and list down at least 10 questions that your prospect is asking themselves on a day-to-day basis in regards to a similar product or solution you might be offering, okay? Now, what can't/won't they tell? Which is super crucial. That usually is the inverse of a desire, right? I want to look good. Well, what I don't want is to look fat, ugly, be repulsive, etc. This is the end of the spectrum. I have a little graphic here at the bottom that I like, which is the love and hates graphic, which in the middle you have indifference. Your prospect never is in the middle. They're never indifferent about a situation. And the unfortunate truth is that most people will run ads that are invoking an indifferent emotion. It doesn't really move people. It's an ad that specifically calls out the product itself, and that's it. It's like, product buy now. It's indifferent. It doesn't move the prospect in any way. Look, I'm not trying to tell you, promise them the ideal life, promise them the dream home, no. But move them left or right in that spectrum. And usually right, so if you move to the right of the spectrum, which is hate, it's a much stronger emotion than love. And you can move people through hate, right? Which is pain in this case. So be mindful, and I see also that a lot in ads that I review, in audits, etc. What will people do most often than not? They'll just simply take the desire, flip it around with a negation word, and that's it. So as an example, I want to look good, right? Well, you don't want to not look good, right? You don't want to not look good. It's pretty much what I see a lot of the time. And again, it's going to sound like very hypothetical right here, but think about your own ads. I'm going to throw again another example about real estate, right? Let's say I'm advertising for sellers. I want a real estate agent that is really going to care about my home, right? They're not going to try and just skimp and get a quick deal and that's it. Like, they're really going to put their effort into making my home look good. What you could advertise is a real estate agent making your home look not good, right? Making it look bad. Well, you can make a comparison between your desire and your pain point, right? How about you show them the dream and show them the current situation you're in? That's a good way to juxtapose the two. So what I mean by that is that if you just solely focus on a pain point, or sometimes solely on the desire, even then you might not move somebody. If you make a juxtaposition of the two, right? Situation one, situation two, or desire, pain point, that helps create a duality and kind of move your prospect. Now, how do you even define or uncover these desires? Well, if you're very knowledgeable about your space, your intuition might be good enough to actually get those. Or you could do stuff like this. You could actually do review mining. So great ways for you to do that is through your own customer reviews or testimonials or feedback of your clients. Or you could go through Amazon listings, which is a great way for you to do that. You go to Amazon listings, you actually scrape through all of the reviews. You can even compile them in a sheet and feed that to ChatGPT and tell it to extract pain points and desires from there. So those are ways for you to actually go through the process of figuring out desires and pain points. The best way is to literally speak to your customers. But usually by speaking to your customers, you'll most likely uncover some very surface level elements, but you won't really uncover the truth. Because what can't they tell? Well, they might actually tell you in there, but what won't they tell? There's no way you're gonna uncover that. And that usually is gonna be through AI that you're gonna be able to actually extract these from your reviews. So could be a hypothetical scenario. You go in ChatGPT, you tell it, hey, ChatGPT, here's my persona. Here's all the information about my persona. I've discovered the following desires from my persona. What are questions or what are problems that my persona is dealing with that they won't openly tell because they're so ashamed of telling that to people around them or to even themselves, right? That they're hiding it from themselves. AI is going to help you uncover some of these pieces of information. So step 3, now you want to go back to your product, check out all the features and USPs and mechanisms that you listed in step 1 and turn them into a benefit. And then once you've matched a feature to a benefit, you want to match the feature benefit to a desire and a pain point. So that way you know exactly all the features and all the things that your product has, all the desires that it's going to attract in your audience, but also all the pain points it might evoke. So you go back to your products and then you ask the question, so you can, right? So you can. So let's just say we have right here, okay? We've designed an umbrella with unbreakable design so you can be protected from harmful sun rays. We've designed a umbrella with waterproof material, which is a feature, so that it can block out raindrops, as an example, okay? And that helps you transform all of these benefits, or all these features, I should say, into benefits. So how it actually helps your prospect on a day-to-day life. They don't care that their iPhone is, in stainless steel. They care that it's more resistant. They care that it scratches less. They care about these things, but they don't care about the material itself. You care because you know as an owner what the quality and craftsmanship goes within your device. But The user doesn't really care nor really understands it. They understand the benefit to them. And that benefit is directly linked to a desire, a pain point that they have. They might have dealt with a phone in the past that scratches super easily, and they don't want to have a scratch phone. Or on the flip side, they actually want to have a scratch-free phone or a very clean phone, a phone that lasts for a while, right? So desire, pain point. Now, step number 4 is the awareness of your prospect, okay? So depending on how aware your persona is, they will be asking themselves different questions. So a very aware prospect, so a prospect that has already been exposed to a product like yours countless times, they might have already even bought from competitors or from your brand, they're very product aware. They already understand the intricacies of your product. They already understand how your product works, why they should buy it. They're really aware of that solution. So if you've bought, let's say, most people nowadays are very product aware of phones, right? Because you've seen or you've bought quite a lot of phones in your life. You've experienced phones, you've played with them. So nobody's gonna come and really speak to you in a way that as if you're completely unaware of what a phone can do for you. But that's because you are a consumer of tech products. Well, let's say I'm speaking, I want to sell an iPhone to an 85-year-old woman who probably has always had a homeland but never really had a cell phone. I'm going to speak to her in a completely different way than I was trying to speak to you, as an example, watching this video. So, list out questions that your prospect might ask themselves at each level so that you can understand where would your prospect most likely fit at. And that, by the way, just like desires and pain points, those are variables. You will be making ads, and through time, you'll be testing and going through different desires, different pain points in your ads. Same thing here. You'll be going through different awareness levels in your ads to really try and see what is the prospect, where am I gonna resonate the most with them. But here's also what's interesting, is that at scale, right? You probably will hone in on 1 to 5 desires that are really strong within your audience. And you'll stick to those even at scale. Whereas with the awareness level, that's where it's very interesting. Even if you go broad, there are different pockets within your audience. So a same persona could be completely aware, so product aware, or completely unaware of your product, right? I could be somebody who's very hippie, who lives in the woods, and I don't use technology, all right? But I still want to sell you a phone. I'm gonna sell it to you again in a much different way than a prospect that has the same affinities as you, but actually uses a phone every single day. And I'll enlarge that graphic in just a second so you can see it better, okay? Step 5, sophistication stage. What you wanna do at this level is you wanna list out each of the problems that your product is actually solving. So think back of your benefits, right? What are the problems that you're actually solving? So if I go back right here, well, I'm solving the fact that I'm gonna get wet, right? I'm getting wet and I'm ruining my outfit, and I'm here it says sun rays, I might get sunburnt, right? Those are the problems that my product is fixing. List these problems these problems that are being fixed by your product, and then ask yourself, what stage is each problem at? AI can be helpful here. So here's the graphic in a much bigger format. This is honestly, I think, one of the best graphics I've been able to find online, and I've been using that in internal SOPs now for quite a while with our team. So you can see the awareness levels and the sophistication stages of the market. So you can kind of see it right here. That usually, by the way, won't be as much as a variable. You might be testing that once you first launch ads for yourself or for customers, but at some point, you'll probably hone in on 1 or 2 sophistication stages. It's very rare that you're gonna move through those, or if you do, it's really through time. So with time, people will be more accustomed to your product or service and then might move through these different sophistication stages, okay? But let's go through all of them. First, the market. There's no product or services like yours. Like, this is truly a breakthrough in technology. That is very rare, very, very rare. Doesn't happen that much. Second, the market, already a lot more likely. Prospect has seen a handful of products like yours, but it's still new, right? There's, as an example right now, I've seen a couple AI automation agencies like popping up and asking like people for services, etc. It's probably second to market. It's quite new at this point. Many claims. Prospect has heard all the claims, maybe even tried a couple products. Many mechanisms. Not only has they heard many claims, right? Which at this point it's like 30-day money back guarantee on our product. Here's the product. So they've seen a couple guarantees. Now it's also mechanism. They've seen different one of your products with different claims and also different ways by which this product can work. So it's getting pretty saturated at this point. And then market is exhausted. They've seen your product countless times. They've used your products countless times. And at this point, there's no way you can really enter into that market. Or at least it's very hard. You have to revive a spark at this point. Very rarely, just like in market awareness levels, very rarely are you on the extreme of the spectrum. You very rarely are unaware or product aware. You very rarely are first to market or market exhausted. Very rarely. Sometimes, especially in awareness levels, it might happen. It might happen in here. But when we're talking about sophistication specifically, you most likely, most of you watching this video are not going to be in first to market or market exhausted. You're somewhere here in the middle. And this is where AI is interesting, because it's hard if you don't have the marketing knowledge or intuition to really get that. It's hard to list out essentially the potential markets, sophistication stages that you're in. So what I would recommend is for you to, again, go back to AI. Here's my persona. Here's my product. Here's all the things that you need to know about my persona. Here's all the things you need to know about my product. Here are the desires and pain points of my persona. Here are the benefits of my product. Here's the awareness of my persona. What do you think are the sophistication stages right now of my product? AI is going to help you figure this out, okay? They're going to help you figure out the most likely to be sophistication stage, okay? Once you're done with that, step 6, hook/angle, okay? How do you want to attack your ad? What's the overarching idea or message that you want to convey with this ad? And that message must be aligned with everything that you've uncovered so far. You pick one desire or pain point. You pick one feature/benefit. You pick one awareness level. And you pick one sophistication stage. All 4 of these aligned together. What message can be created out of these 4 things, and how can you make sure that you speak to these 4 things all together? Which again, AI can help you with that. The same thing that I just said earlier. You tell AI, write me a strong hook for an ad, right? I call this either the concept headline or the visual hook. Visual hook is, if it's a video, it's gonna be the text that appears right at the start of the video. If it's a photo, well, it's gonna be the big bold text that I'm gonna have on my ad creative. Concept headline is basically, again, just the same thing. So it's just 2 ways for you to speak of that message, okay? You may refer to the 38 headline patterns in the book, Breakthrough Advertising, to help you here. If you have not read that book, I highly recommend that you do so. It's gonna help you understand everything I'm speaking about in this video. Very, very valuable book. They're talking about in that book, and you can find those online if you just simply Google 38 headline patterns, breakthrough advertising. They have 38 headline patterns that help you create a strong concept headline or visual hook. So how can you make it an even stronger visual hook or headline? Well, you can do so by choosing one of the 38 headline patterns. I think you're noticing a pattern again right here. There's one of each of these steps. So in each step, you uncover a bunch of different things. You pick one out of each of these different steps. And then all the other stuff that you've uncovered, all the other desires or pain points, all the other awareness levels, well, you keep those in your back pocket to use them in new ads that you're gonna make, because those are gonna be the variables you're gonna be testing in your ads. Now, last step is copy/creative. So little typo right here, copy plus creative, okay? You make a choice, static or video. There's no right or wrong here, okay? I'm just gonna tell you right away, that really depends of your industry and ad account. Some ad accounts I've seen UGC perform amazingly well. Other ad accounts I've seen statics outperform everything else. So that's gonna be ad account dependent. Pick static or video. Very important when you write your copy. Copy again has to be aligned with everything that we've talked about so far, which again, AI can help you. Static, creative sells the copy sells the click. Super important to understand. If you have a static image, so just basically an image with a headline on top of it, that image's goal is going to be selling the copy so that the reader is like, huh, that's interesting, that hooked me, right? That stopped me in my scroll. So I'm gonna go read the copy. If the copy is interesting, I'm gonna click and go on the website. A video is the opposite. A video is long. You're lazy when you start scrolling on your feed. You don't really look at the video, or not, at least not in the entirety of the video. So you've got 2 types of people. You've got people, 1, who are going to be watching the first 3 seconds, deciding if it's worth their time to watch the entire video. And then if it is, they're gonna be able to make a decision whether or not they wanna click. There's the other types of people which are even lazier, which are not gonna be, I don't wanna watch this video. They're gonna quickly skim through the first line of your copy and then be like, huh, that's interesting, let me watch the video. That's the mindset behind these different creative types. Now, what you also do at this stage is you write the script. So if it's a video, you write the entire script. If not, then if it's not a video, then you write editing instructions to your team. So how do you want to actually convey the messaging, what type of creative you want it to look like. And then I'm gonna emphasize in this video the importance of swipe file examples, okay? Here's the thing. I was under the impression, and still am, if you're just getting started with ads, don't even bother about branding. The most important thing you want to figure out is your messaging first. Who you're speaking to and how are you speaking to them. That's the first part, which is pretty much what we've covered up so far in this video. The second part is how is it presented. Here's the thing. If I tell you, look at you in your eyes and tell you, I'm happy, but I have a pout, right? I look at you like this and I'm like, I'm happy. Do I look happy? Probably not, right? My messaging is congruent in the emotion I want to give you, but the way that my face, my expressions are being portrayed don't align with my messaging. So it's confusing for the audience. So what I mean by that is that the way that you're gonna edit your ad creative has to be aligned with your messaging too. You can't put, let's say, an ad creative that has a big product in the middle with like a big headline, which is like, buy this now or whatever, or I don't even know. Let's say you've actually figured out a good headline from the previous step. You put that headline on top of your product and your audience is like completely unaware. Why would you even speak of your product in this creative if your audience doesn't even know about like sort of a product, right? If they're completely unaware about it, don't show them a product from the start. They probably don't even know this is what they want. So you have to align the way you're gonna edit your creative with all of the previous steps that we've done in this video. And that's like probably the hardest part in all of this, is to align the creative with the messaging. And not only that, you have to make it look good, because if it doesn't look good, people may not convert as well. They probably will still convert if the messaging is aligned and if the way a creative was edited is in a way that is also aligned with your messaging. But if like branding is off, or if the color choice is not the right one, or the font is not great, if the alignment or the stuff on the picture is not placed properly, people won't convert. So this is the last part of the entire ad process, probably the most important, because this is where you tie everything back together into one end result. If you have any questions about anything mentioned in this video, make sure to leave a comment down below. And with that being said, there's two things for you to do after watching this video. One, if you want to have access to over 21 hours of free content about paid advertising and the e-commerce space too, so both creative and media buying sites, click the link in the description down below and join our free school community. And if you're a brand watching this video and you're doing above $50,000 a month, well, book in a call with our team with the link down below, and we'll be more than happy to present you more in depth how we work at paidadvertising.com. On that note, check out other videos on the channel for some more useful e-commerce marketing tips, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.